Welcome to Parkland Report. My name is Seamus Reilly. Joining me in this program, Dean Marietta Turner, Dean of Students at Parkland College, and Student Development Advocate Tanino Minneci. Welcome to the Parkland Report.
Thank you.
We're talking here today about civility, the importance of civility. Can we talk a little bit about the concept of civility in the nation, nationally, on a national level? What does it mean to you, and why are we involved in it here at Parkland College?
Well, it's really important because at the national level there's been a lot more discussion about the increasing lack of civility with public officials, within school settings, at work settings, and everyone is saying that, you know, what is happening? We have to get back to having a civil society. There are more books being written about it in terms of what is this costing the bottom line, even in the workplace. And so we see this as part of our mission to educate our community, to talk about the fact that we are a civil academic community, and we want everyone to see us modeling the behavior, and we want to help others learn how to do it.
And Tanino, in your day-to-day work with students, have you noticed a lack of civility or a need for education about civility as you?
Well, one of the things that I notice in my job in particular, I see a lot of students right at the beginning of their college academic career, and we see students who are coming from so many different kinds of backgrounds, educational and social and all sorts of backgrounds. And one of the things that's become pretty clear is that not everyone comes to Parkland or to college in general with the same idea of what respect and civility means and how that plays out on a college campus or in society as a whole. Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the things that we're trying to do is get a common language around civility and help model the behavior, as Dean Turner said, but also get people on the same page as to what it means to be a part of a civilized society, to be treating each other with respect and dignity, not just on the campus, but everywhere. And it starts here, and I think it should be included as part of the educational experience. So
let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, we're talking about students for whom college itself is a new experience, mm-hmm. and the understanding of what a college is. A lot of our students are transitioning. They see it as a rite of passage. You move from high school to college. Everybody's expectation is that you go to college. But what we find, would you agree that when students get here, that they have not any sense of understanding of what a college is as an institution of learning?
For many of them, yes. And I find that they are quite alarmed when they get here, and there are expectations of them that they didn't expect. A lot of them come from high school situations that may be a lot more chaotic than what we experience here at Parkland, or what we expect to experience here mm-hmm. at Parkland. And so it's really important for us to sort of graduate them to a new understanding of what the educational experience is about, and how college is definitely a different and unique experience from what they've had before. So we're trying to, I think, instill that in them and make that a bigger part of the conversation.
And so when students come to Parkland, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things they realize is that they're in a very diverse
mm-hmm.
community. They may have thought they were in a diverse community, but in many cases, I mean, even if you're coming from a very rural school or from an inner city school, coming to Parkland means diversity mm-hmm. for everybody. How do we go about educating people about different communication styles, different ways in which you can make your point or get your point across without reverting to a sort of a very basic sort of communication
right.
style?
When we had some of the Civility Awareness Month activities, one of the things PTK did was put a banner out there in the Student Center and ask students to write what does civility mean to them. And they talked about respect, the need to be empathetic, showing compassion and caring for others. And that's what I think is really important as we talk about teaching students that they've come, as Tanino said, to a new environment and graduate them to our language, is that you're in college now, you're a college student, and so we expect you to model civil behavior by being kind, not yelling, not immediately wanting to use swear words at someone or threatening to hurt them. So we're really trying to teach them better interpersonal skills.
Right. So PTK, the Phi Theta Kappa, the Honors Society, I mean, this is one of a number of groups that I think have sort of begun to look at civility and the idea of civility on campus. Parkland, I always think, is a very interesting place because people are, in fact, very willing to help and stop students and meet them as they come in the door and walk them to the location that they're trying to get to. How far, I know certainly in the beginning weeks of the semesters, we try to have a presence in the College Center. How much does that help with students sort of getting oriented to the campus?
I think it's a big factor because, once again, it's a matter of showing the students we mean what we say in terms of our core values of showing respect and caring for others. So when they see the presence of faculty, staff, and administrators out there willing to walk over to a printer and help them get their schedule printed or walk them to an area instead of just pointing the way, they see we really care and we're glad you're here. And instead of just saying, there's the map, someone saying, come on, I'll walk you there, shows a lot more empathy. And so we're demonstrating it.
So in order to sort of like have a general awareness of civility, and we want to live in a more civil society, and like you said, it's a sort of a national issue. I think one of the things that's disappointing to many of us is the way in which our, sort of public representatives, people in public venues, how they react to one another, whether it be intemperate language or whether it be disdainfully or whether it be dismissively of a particular point of view. It seems to be a lot easier just to dismiss somebody just because you don't want to pay attention to their point of view, which is disappointing. From a structural point of view, as you begin to educate students as they come to campus, talk about how you've begun to set up some sort of short-term and some sort of long-term programs and goals for Parkland.
One of the things that we incorporated, and let me explain that our PC4C, which is Parkland College for Civility Committee, has grown from a small cadre of people to over 25 faculty, professional support staff, administrators, and students who are very committed to inculturating this and making this part of our culture. And one of the things that's happened is many of the faculty are holding sessions, talking to their colleagues about how to incorporate it to the syllabi, so the students understand when you are in a class and you're having intellectual discourse, it's okay to disagree about someone else's viewpoint as long as you don't attack them personally. So it's getting those ideas across. We've done some signage where we offer people, if they sign one of our banners, and we've had several different opportunities for them to do this, is you can have this banner, this placard to sign up and put in your office so people understand that you are supporting this as part of our culture. So those are some of the things we're doing. We also had a Civility Awareness Month, and I'm going to let Tanino tell you a little bit about one of the activities we did. They garnered a lot of involvement and some public attention, but we're also going to try to do a fair in the fall.
Before you describe some of the events, Tanino, maybe sort of like to sort of follow up on something that Dean Turner said. Do you find that when students come into your office and this is their first experience of college, that the notion that they can respectfully disagree with something is something that they're not even aware of?
It's interesting. I find that students can be surprised by that sometimes. I often have students come into the office and they'll be upset. They disagree with an instructor. They disagree with a classmate, and they feel as though there's a certain way to respond to that. And part of my job, and I think part of the job of the college as a whole, is to sort of show the students that there is a way to handle disagreements, to handle things that may be uncomfortable for them in the classroom without all of the, I suppose, behavior that may have been okay in their high schools or perhaps in the communities where they came from. And it's really important to sort of show that disagreement is a good thing.
Is this, we talk about in instructing students, and sort of most of our sort of typical college-age students come in with a very binary understanding of how the world is. Everything's in terms of black or white. You're either for or against it. And so the part of the process of going through critical thinking, learning about critical thinking, going through the education process is a natural maturation. Is part of what the lessons that you're trying to work on developing this sort of maturation process for our students, sort of a disconnection from emotion? In other words, that if I disagree with you,
right,
the notion is that if you say something to me that I disagree with, that it's somehow a personal attack.
Yes.
And that therefore I have to react emotively, and emotionally rather, and sort of say, you're attacking me, where in fact I just am disagreeing with your opinion, which is in fact a cornerstone of the whole country, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And beyond just maybe disagreeing on opinions, for example, I find that students, if assignments have been criticized, or if their work has been criticized and they've been asked to revise or to do a better job, a lot of times a student will take that really personally. And it's, I think, one of the things that is part of the learning process in college is that those mistakes are part of it, and it's very important to sort of understand that it's those little mistakes and those disagreements and those situations that help a person to grow and to mature and to learn. And the mission of the college is to engage the community in learning, and this issue of civility is part of that whole picture.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Parkland Report, talking about civility on Parkland campus.
Hey, Allison and Dylan, what if I told you could get a head start on college before you graduated high school and for little to no cost?
Well, I'd ask you what the catch is.
Yeah, how can I take college courses if I haven't even finished high school yet?
That's easy. You simply enroll in dual credit courses at Parkland College.
But won't that be expensive?
Yeah, will all the credits transfer?
Well, most four-year universities accept these credits, and you're actually saving money. Many times the high school will even cover the cost of the course.
I'm sorry, did I overhear you guys correctly? Did you just say that you could take college courses without paying college tuition?
Yeah, all we pay for is the course and the textbook, and we can earn college credit towards getting our degree.
You guys are catching on. The credit works toward a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, and even toward career certificate programs.
I like the sound of this.
I don't know, this all sounds great, but I already have a busy schedule and I won't have time to drive to classes.
You won't have to. Parkland offers a number of dual credit courses online in addition to the on-campus courses. Some of the courses are even taught in your high school.
You mean to say that one of the high school classes I'm taking right now could work as a dual credit course as well?
Yes, you should talk to the school counselor to see which classes are offered as dual credit in our school. Then all you need to do is apply to Parkland, and once you're accepted, fill out the application to the dual credit program. You'll need the signature of your parents and advisor for this.
That sounds easy enough, but are there any requirements to being eligible for dual credit?
Yes, you must be a junior or senior in high school, age 16 or above, in order to be eligible for dual credit courses. You can print an application online or visit Parkland's admissions office to pick one up.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to see the counselor right now.
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity.
Me neither.
Welcome back to the Parkland Report. Joining me in today's program, Dean Marietta Turner, Dean of Students, Tanino Minneci, Student Development Advocate, talking about civility at Parkland College. Tanino, we just saw some video of an event that took place on campus that was very dramatic. And why don't you describe a little bit about the concept, first of all, and how you went about planning to do it at Parkland College, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the reaction to it.
Sure. Well, when we were, as a committee, when we were coming together and trying to figure out really interesting ways that we could engage the students in this idea of civility, one of the things that occurred to me in my life outside of Parkland, I do a lot of things theatrically. I'm involved in improv groups and things like that. And one of the things that I have come across in my years of doing this kind of thing is a group called Improv Everywhere. And one of the things that they do nationally is both for entertainment and for social awareness, they will stage these sort of flash mob events. And we had decided that it might be a cool idea to take this idea of sort of a flash mob type event and put it on our campus to get the students involved and interested and engaged in the conversation. So I came up with this idea of where we would do a flash mob, a civility, what did we call it, a civility?
Civility improv.
Civility improv,
Yes.
Correct. Because we wanted to get away from the word mob.
Right. So the notion of a flash mob, though, just for people
Sure.
to understand, the idea is that you get a large group of people and that they spontaneously do some demonstrative theatrical
Correct.
movement with some message.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, there are lots of different variations of this kind of thing, and the one that we thought would be the simplest to execute would be a freeze mob. And so what we decided to do was get administration, faculty and staff, and students, and we got student groups involved as well. Lots of different people participating where we would congregate in the college center, and then at the signal we would all freeze. And one of the things that would happen during that was there would be a few of these signs being held up at that moment that said civility everywhere. And it was really dramatic, and it was really cool. First of all, it was cool because it was great to see so many people from so many different corners of the campus. Administration, faculty, student groups were involved. It was really great to see all these different people converging together to make this happen. And so we had the rehearsal, which was a lot of fun. Then we descended on the college center right in the middle of the day so that it was packed. I'm sure public safety had fun with that one. You know, and we got everyone to freeze, and it was really fun for those people who were a part of it to see the students who were not involved reacting. They were looking at the signs. They were you know, saying what is going on. And
Right, and the kinds of things people were doing were shaking hands,
Yes.
were embracing, were hugging, were high-fiving.
High-fiving, right.
Which are sort of like, I guess, manifestations or demonstrations of sort of civil behavior in action,
In
not
action,
necessarily in
right.
words.
Right. I mean, you had someone who looked like they had dropped a piece of paper and the other person is reaching down to pick it up for them. Somebody who was giving someone a high five. Someone who's giving someone a hug and a smile. The whole idea is the action itself. And it was really, like Tanino said, very exciting to see people stopping to take pictures with their phones and saying, what's going on here today? And it was just very interesting to see their reactions.
And so you talk about the simple act. I mean, you know, what we call it was a simple act of kindness, right?
Yes.
So, but we began to encourage people to do that. Talk a little bit about some of the sort of things we did to
We
encourage
actually
students.
set up a couple of weeks of, we called them acts of random kindness and civility. And so in different hours of the day, throughout the day and the evening, we had people who were handing out motivational slips of paper, were standing in the college center holding signs saying free hugs. smiling for people. People who were holding doors in different areas of the college, and students are coming in going, what's going on? We're like, this is for you. And students were really interested and were saying, thank you, what's this all about? This is us showing you civility in action, and that's what we call it, civility in action. And Erica Hackman of our Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning coordinated the activity post and got over 30 people to sign up to take part.
I mean, it seems really simple, but when you arrive as a student on campus, brand new to the campus, and somebody engages you, eye-to-eye contact, smiles, says good morning.
Right.
I try to practice this myself regularly. It's infectious. I mean, people react to it, and it's very simple, but people feel immediately welcomed and warm, welcome to the campus and sort of comfortable.
Right, and the idea is to let students know we want you here. We're glad you're here, and that smiling at a student. I try to make sure in the morning as I come in, like you said, I try to smile and say good morning to students as I'm coming through the hallways, because it's hard to resist a smile. And we want students to understand that we really care about them, and we want them to be successful with their academic career, but we also want them to feel welcome here.
Right. Tanino, as certainly for students who come in who are the idea of college is a huge step for them. They're very uncomfortable. They maybe feel like unqualified to be here, or struggling to deal with the pressures of home and work and etc. What are some other things that we have planned to try to begin to sort of create an even warmer atmosphere on campus for our students?
As part of our civility campaign, one of the things that we're looking for over the next school year is we're already starting to look ahead to try to expand on some of the things that we did last year. We really want to infuse this idea of civility, so we're planning on a civility fair that would happen, I think, towards the beginning of the school year, the beginning of the fall. And also, we're going to try our Civility Awareness Month again. And I think new for this next school cycle is that we'll reintroduce something in the spring, so we can keep that idea of civility going all year round. And I think our committee still needs to get together and sort of come up with new ways to sort of get this message out there, but certainly the things that we tried last year were very effective, and I think we'd like to do them on a grander scale, get more students involved. Now that it's been out there once before, I think we really have a lot more interest in the idea, and more student groups and faculty and administration that would like to be involved. So I'm really encouraged to see where we go in the next year with this idea. So.
Very good. One of the things, though, about talking about civility is I think in some people's minds, maybe they feel that this is sort of like a defense mechanism. We are forced to engage in a civility program because we're trying to be reactive to behavior. But I think sort of from what you've said, and certainly from talking to you in other areas about this is really about learning. We can certainly sort of educate people about sort of college level behavior and attitudes, but fundamentally across the whole college, when we have a civil spaces where discourse can take place, it enables learning to take place. I think one of the things I worry about is that students feel like that they have to take a position and they can't move from it. It precludes engagement in learning. Would you agree that that's something that's sort of maybe a little bit further down the road, but certainly at the core?
I think it's at the core of what we're doing, because this whole plan for creating a civility initiative was based on our core values of respect and empathy and education. And so the idea here is educating people to civility is the norm for a good society, and part of our mission in engaging the community's learning is helping people become good citizens. And so being a good citizen means you're part of your community, and this is our academic community that our students have come to join, so we want to help them understand that it's okay to engage in civil discourse, and it's okay to take a position and change it and debate a position. And that's part of, as you said, learning how to work with others, because eventually, whether you get any type of credential, even a terminal degree, at some point, unless you win the lottery, there's a job at the end. You have to work with people. And so I always tell students it's about learning how to, civility is not a strange thing off in the far, far universe. It is basically about playing well with others in the sandbox.
And in terms of Parkland, College, we're about ready to embark on the construction of the new Student Services Building, which we're very excited about because it will create a lot of space for students to engage with each other. But the importance for students who are connected to Parkland, as students engaged in activities outside of the classroom and extracurricular activities with service learning clubs, with PTK, we mentioned the Phi Theta Kappa, the Honors Society, International Students Association, a myriad of other things that we have available. That's really a very important part of their developing a sort of an understanding of a civil discourse, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think it's maybe even one of the most important because you can't successfully engage in those activities and be a part of those organizations and even the classroom without civility being a huge part of that. And if students aren't capable of engaging civilly, then really their experience is not what we are trying to accomplish here. And I think that as long as we can continue this conversation and keep it growing and keep it an active part of this learning process, I think that it can only get better.
And it's a sort of a two-way street, isn't it? I mean, we talk about our students and we want our students to behave in this way, but really for our faculty and our administrators and our staff, it's an opportunity for us to grow and participate in this civil discourse
Absolutely.
as well.
Civility is for everyone, everywhere. And the idea is that we all have to walk the same path. And so the idea is colleague to colleague, we have to be able to get along. Student to faculty, every interaction has to be a civil one, and that is the way we want our community to be. Then we have to all participate. It's not those people over there or those students over there, it's all of us.
Well, and as Parkland is a wonderful microcosm of the whole community that we live in, sort of developing those strengths and building on those sort of lessons that students come in with really helps to benefit the complete District 505.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, it's been wonderful talking with you both today, and the PC4C, Parkland College for Civility campaign. We wish you all the best in the future. Thanks so much for being on Parkland Report.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
That's it for this edition of Parkland Report. We'll see you back here next time.